Good morning, friends, and welcome back to Astrology Today. My name is Mel Rose, and I'm here to share your daily aspects. Today is Sunday, March 20th, 2022, and today is the Vernal Equinox. The official and on all counts beginning of spring happens now. Yay! Okay, so a few things came up for me that I want to share with you about the Vernal Equinox, and then we'll get into the aspects for today. The first thing is that this is a time of transition in the material world and in the symbolic sense. We transition at this time from the nighttime dominated time of year to the daytime dominated time of year. The hours with sunlight right now will be equal in the day to the hours without it. And from here through the midsummer, the days will grow longer and the nights will become shorter. This means that right now the veil is not so thin as it was. We're not as sensitive to contact with the realm of spirit, and we're not so much turned inward to focus on ourselves and our own lives. With more sunlight, the world grows greener around us. The flowers begin to bloom, and we begin to consider which seeds can be planted when the danger of frost has passed. The world is coming to life now, when just a month ago it was still cold and withdrawn. The mythologies of the Northern Hemisphere all seem to attribute the rebirth of at least one deity figure at this time. It is a symbolic representation that the trees and vines that seem bare and lifeless in the winter will again bear leaves, flowers, and even fruit. Rebirth is the theme that is all around us, and it calls about our own rebirth out into the world. Our traditional equinox celebrations include a lot of what a Midwestern Americano like myself would call Easter themes. Rabbits and robins are sacred to the divine progenitors of this season of rebirth. We dye eggs as emblems of nurturance, growth, and protection. And traditionally we would bake and eat sweet yeasty bread. Ham or roast pig is also a traditional food at this time of year. The sun's ingress out of Pisces and into Aries at this time gives us a shift in energy that feels like getting out of bed on a day when we're eager to get to work on what we've planned to do that day. Sure, the comfort was nice and we're grateful for the opportunity to dream, but we have stuff to do now, and we desire not to waste another minute. So let's get into our look at today's aspects. The sun begins in Pisces today, where Jupiter and Neptune and Mercury are also transiting, and it makes ingress this morning to Aries, where Chiron is also transiting. So the focus shifts at this time from that fertile, creative period of rest and reflection to a more active vibe that is focused on our daytime activities and the things we're trying to do out in the world. Chiron's presence in Aries during the sun's transit here offers the clue that we'll be focusing somewhat on mending our sense of identity as it is expressed in the outer life. And the waning gibbous moon in Libra begins in Libra today, making ingress to Scorpio this morning. So as we look back on the last month's goals and culminations, we can bring our attention to what parts didn't work for us, what we can afford to let go, and at this time, what clutter can be set aside for disposal or donation. Let me see here. Sort of review and start clearing out the clutter, right? All right, I'm going to go ahead and get into the aspects. I just want to remind you that there is a key on the side. Most of the symbols on the page make it into the key, so if there's a symbol you're struggling with and you want a word or an idea to go with it, they're all right here. Otherwise, I'm going to go over them as we go through the aspects today. And the page is divided into two columns, one for each of our luminaries. The moon is the luminary that sheds light on our inner lives. This is who we are on the inside, how it feels to be in our body, heart, and mind, those things we think, feel, know, and intuit, and also who we are and how we relate in our home space with the people that we have there with us. And the lunar aspects are relatively brief. The aspects and transits that the moon makes are relatively brief, and they have more to do with that stuff that is on the inside, those things we think, feel, know, and intuit, or that are somehow private to us and don't necessarily find expression in the outer life. The sun, on the other hand, is the luminary that sheds light on our outer lives. This is more who we are when we interface with the public, what our conscious attention is being drawn to at the time, and sort of how we engage in our work, social, and civic spaces as well. And I address the sun's aspects and all the other planets' aspects on this side, because it has more to do with how and who we are out in the world, and these aspects tend to take a little longer than the lunar aspects. So we begin with the moon today, Central Standard Time, friends, at 7:40 a.m. The void of course moon makes a square with Pluto. So remember I was saying a couple days ago, it seems like a lot of times when the moon is void of course and it's about to make ingress to the next sign, it makes some kind of aspect with Pluto. And this is one of those times when it's doing that. So I'm just calling it out because I'm noticing it. Moon square Pluto. So moon and Pluto in aspect together really puts us deep in our emotions, into our intuitions, more of an internal seeking point of view. And square means that there could be a challenge that comes up. So strong feelings at this time might come up and they need to find expression, but this may present a challenge. We can't just always express our strong feelings any old way that we want to. We might just encounter a little bit of issue with that. So it's important to remain self-disciplined at this time. This is the beginning of a void of course period of time, so it's a great time to turn within, to get into your intuitive and creative practices, do your reading and writing, journaling, art, whatever it is, so that you can have the conversation with yourself about these strong feelings that you might be encountering. And then at 10:44, so that's a good 3-hour void of course there. At 10:44, the moon makes ingress into Scorpio, and that's the deep dive anyway. This is a 2.5-day transit here. That's the deep dive into the intense emotions, the inner life, and the sense of intuitive understanding. So this is a good period of time this morning, if you have it, to really, turn within and think about how things are going for you on your inner life, in your personal world. Feel those feelings and look for creative ways to give them expression. On the sun side of the page at 10:33 in the morning, right in the middle of that void of course, or right toward the end of that void of course, actually, just as the moon's about to go into Scorpio, the sun makes ingress to Aries. So, for Aries, I just thought I would put up some keywords. At this time, when the sun is in Aries, we've come out of that sort of rest and reflection phase. This is the beginning of the spring. Everything is coming back to life. Our sense of initiative and wanting to be out in the world doing things is also coming back to life. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It's the child of the zodiac. So there's a bold and innocent feeling we have in our outer lives. We feel enthusiasm. We are spontaneous. We can be competitive, and yet we can be cooperative. We just want to work together to achieve a goal, whether that is to compete with somebody to get there or to cooperate with somebody to get there. There's a lot of initiative. There's a lot of impulsiveness. There can also be impatience and a failure to look into the future, to consider one's consequences. So those are all the themes of Sun and Aries, and probably themes that we will notice for ourselves, especially in our outer lives, over the course of the next month. And so, there you have it. Here's your new beginning. Here's your fresh start. This is the great time of year to really be getting started on, those resolutions or promises you might have made to yourself back in January, in the middle of the winter, when there was almost no energy to take initiative. Now is your time to really get that fresh start. Don't give up on yourself. If there's something that you want to get going, now is the time to start getting going on it. And then also today on the sun side of the page, really tomorrow morning at 1:06 in the morning, on Monday morning, Mercury is going to make a conjunct with Jupiter. So Mercury, Jupiter, and Neptune have all been hanging out up here in Pisces. Expanded inspirational flow for creativity, expanded thoughts, plans, and ideas about ourselves. And this Mercury in conjunct with Jupiter. So conjunct is the amplification of both of these vibrations. Mercury is about your day-to-day thoughts, plans, and communications. Personal thoughts, plans, and communications. This is what you're thinking, planning, and communicating about, by, and for yourself, okay? And then Jupiter is that planet that brings expansion, that helps us grow our sense of what we can be, do, and have. So this is a really great time to be having those bigger thoughts and those bigger conversations, and to be thinking about our larger plans, our grander version of who we desire to be going forward. And I was reading Chani Nicholas the other day, and she had a great quote in regards to this specific aspect, Mercury conjunct Jupiter. She said, "This is a turning point in understanding our individual vastness and wisdom." Okay, so we've been with this Venus conjunct Mars right here, which has been about our partnerships, and we've been dealing with our relationships and our partnerships all through the winter and right up to now with this Venus conjunct Mars. And now they're going to start to drift apart, and it's going to become, Aries is really about the individual nature, the individual drive, our personal sense of initiative. And that's really great to have this coming in and just have this really opened up vision, partly because we've been having all these conversations and doing all this work in relation to our partnerships. Now we have this personal sense of freedom to move forward in the direction that we most desire, and to see how vast and wise that we are. So I really love that. And this one overlaps with an upcoming aspect that is coming up on Tuesday, Mars square Uranus. When I read about it in the Wee Moon, there was a connection between these two that brings us sort of these restless and revolutionary vibes as we focus toward our bigger, better future. And at this time, we want to be in action, not in reaction. That's the thing that we really want to most point toward, is, taking action, not just being in reaction to other things, okay? And then on the sun side of the page, we have Venus conjunct Mars and Jupiter sextile Uranus, both with us just through today. After today, these combined forces that have been asking us to work on our partnership goals and asking us to make changes for the better, and offering us good fortune if we will make changes for the better, and especially when it comes to our partnerships, our work, love, and life partnerships. This is coming to a culmination right now, and after this, we'll be in a sort of shadow phase for a week or so while these continue to drift apart and are no longer in aspect with one another. So, Venus conjunct Mars in Aries. This is about our partnerships, not in Aries, in Aquarius, our partnerships. As they are ruled by Saturn, because it was in Capricorn and then Aquarius, and Saturn has been present for all of that. So it's about the work that we have to do. It's about working in partnership to shore up our foundations, to help ourselves and our loved ones feel supported, to help our communities and our family and friend groups feel supported, to feel that 10 of Cups satisfaction that everybody is working together and our creative endeavors are bearing fruit. So that's, been our partnerships in the context of community. And again, just the advice to make those shifts and changes, even if they feel a little bit insecure, because Mercury has been in Taurus, which is ruled by Venus. So, not Mercury, Uranus has been in Taurus, which is ruled by Venus. So we've been feeling those shifts in our foundations, and, it can be a little uncomfortable, but the promise here has been, excellent cooperative functioning when we make the changes for the better in our lives. Jupiter is there to help us expand our sense of who we are. So that's what we've been dealing with up to now, and this is the culminative point of it. And then after this, those energies are going to start to drift and scatter. It doesn't mean that they won't mean anything or that the work we have done has meant nothing. It just means it's time to move on to the next phase, right? So also we have these two ongoing right here, Venus sextile Chiron and the Sun sextile Pluto, which to me was like a Venus and Mars sort of conjunct microcosm. These are with us through the 24th. And this one is about setting our sense of relations in order, okay? So Venus is our receptivity. It is how we like to receive attention, affection, abundance, money, things, resources, goods and services, whatever it is. It's how we attract to us the things that we desire. And this sextile functioning is highly cooperative, very positive functioning that generates good outcomes. Chiron here is an asteroid that relates to how we heal, what we're working on healing. And especially now that the sun is moving into Aries where Chiron is sitting, really a spotlight on, bringing order to the way that we receive, bringing order to our ideas about the way we should be receiving things, and also just sort of finding solutions to help us feel supported and satisfied in a really workable condition right there. And then the Sun sextile Pluto, also with us through the 24th, this is like a spotlight on personal power. Nothing could say more Sun in Aries to me than a spotlight on personal power. And this really advises us, we have this cooperative energy again, to rein in any impulsive or compulsive energies that we usually sort of allow to fritter away our power and our time and our ability to get things done, to rein them in and use that burst of power coming into the spring to get moving forward on those goals and ambitions. Okay, so here's your boost of personal power. So we're setting our relations in order, our sense of receptivity as we move forward in pursuit of our goals. And then we also, in the ongoing column over here, have until the 26th of this month, Venus in a square relationship with Uranus. Now, this can put Venus in a really sort of restless condition because Uranus brings about sort of instinctive or intuitive change. And, we've already discussed how Venus, ruler of Taurus, isn't loving necessarily all of the change, all of the sense of shifting in our foundations, shifting in, the receptive quality of the things that we can get because we want them or need them or desire them. So, Venus can get a little impatient here. Venus can get a little wandering eye, get a little to thinking about how else they might attract the attention, affection, or abundance that Venus is looking for. But it's important to remember your commitments, right? Your partnership goals. And, stand firm with any inner guidance right now that says, look, this is the responsible thing to do. This is the thing that I said that I would do. Please go ahead and stand firm with it. This is a challenge right here, this challenge to let your mind wander or let yourself become impatient with things that are happening within your relationships. It's a challenge to remember why you are there. Have that conversation with yourself. Have that conversation with yourself about why you have chosen to make the commitments you have, why you're there, and what you're there to do, okay? And then coming up tomorrow, Mars is going to make a sextile with Chiron. So this has been about our receptiveness in a cooperative relationship with finding solutions. This is going to be about our assertiveness in a cooperative relationship with finding solutions. So that'll be interesting to talk about. There are other things happening next week, but coming up on Thursday, third quarter moon in Capricorn will be when we shift from sort of looking back and creating the list of things that we would like to clear out, pushing things toward the door. And this is when we start actually just like pushing things out the door, letting go of outdated or false notions, ideas, dispositions, attitudes, and stuff. Just letting it go so that when we get to that new moon in about a week and a half, we have a clean slate to work with and to begin building our creations again. And next Sunday, Mercury is going to enter Aries, so it will be Mercury, Chiron, and the Sun in Aries at that time. So we'll be talking about those solutions and that sense of initiative that we have, our sense of initiative to move forward, to pursue our goals, and a lot of our goals are going to be about mending our relationship with the rest of the world, mending our sense of identity in the world as well. Okay, I believe that is all I have to say about the aspects today. Thank you so much for hanging in with me. If you're still here, please give me a thumbs up, like my video, subscribe, hit the notifications bell. I post here every day, so I wouldn't want you to miss a thing. And now I'm going to also ask you to comment. If there's anything that you see here that that inspires you to say something, if you have a question, or if there's something about this that you don't understand or something you'd like clarification on, please feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. I do receive your comments and I respond to them. And now I'm going to shift to talking a little bit about some tarot. First, we're going to talk about the tarot card on the side of the page, and then I'll throw a tarot card to hopefully tie together the whole theme of this beautiful Sunday spring equinox. It couldn't be more appropriate, by the way, for Sunday to be the day of the vernal equinox, because it is the day when the sun comes back and we start to see the days be equal to or longer than the nighttime. So it's like, here comes the sun. Doo-doo-doo-doo. All right. So the tarot card on the side of the page today is the Ten of Cups, and that is because it relates to the last 10 days of the sun's transit through Pisces, which today is the end of the last 10 days of the sun's transit through Pisces. So let's take one more look at this card. This is really about happiness and fulfillment with a deep sense of unity with the world around us, okay? And that sense of unity includes and extends to our family, our loved ones, our friends, and our communities. Okay, so cups are creativity, inspiration, emotion, and intuition. And those are all resources that are sourced from within ourselves, from within our gut, our heart, and our mind. And it is with those resources, that emotion and intuition and creative flow, that we actually create the life that we best want to live. Okay, so when we've put ourselves into it, we've given it all of our creative juice and all of our inspired flow, and we've given all of our love, then we can sort of look and see what it is that we've created, and we can appreciate it. All right, this is a sense of extreme satisfaction and fulfillment with what we have created and with how we're feeling about it. So if your life is feeling this way right now, really appreciate that and give thanks. And if there's even just a part of your life that feels like this right now, appreciate it and give thanks. Okay, gratitude. That attitude of gratitude is what keeps the creative flow going at that point. All right, and now I'm going to continue to mix up these cards a little while I remind myself and the cards that the sun has been in Pisces with Jupiter and Neptune right there, as well as Mercury, expanded flow of inspiration and creativity, and expanded sort of thoughts, plans, and communications, like this very expanded understanding of our, as Chani put it, individual vastness and wisdom. I love that quote. And the sun makes ingress this morning to Aries, where Chiron is also transiting. So we're going to shift our focus from that creative, inspired, intuitive vibe to really more an assertive, goal-oriented, active vibe that is focused a little bit on healing and finding solutions, especially when it comes to our sense of identity in the world. And the waning gibbous moon starts out in Libra and moves into Scorpio today, so that's a shift from the fair and balanced, thoughtful, what do I want to say, outward-looking, dispassionate vibration to a more inward-seeking, emotional vibration, intuitive vibration that helps us seek truth within ourselves rather than without. And that's at this time when we are sort of looking at our month in review, asking how it went, what we would like to go better, and getting ready to clear out the clutter of last month's events. Sun moves into Aries today, so again, forward, onward hose. We're innocent and bold. We are enthusiastic. We are competitive, and we have initiative. So if you're feeling that, you're not alone in the world. That's where the sun is shining right now. And we have a lot of ongoing aspects with Venus, just reminding us to think about our partnerships, think about the way that we relate, think about the commitments that we have been making, to keep shifting with the intuitive. With the intuitive awakenings that come up that show us what we can do to change ourselves and our lives for the better. And that Sun sextile Pluto there really gives us a boost of power as we're entering the spring here. Mercury conjunct Pluto, really expanding our consciousness of who we are on the inside, what our intellectual identity is, our thoughts, plans, and communications. We really can get a sense of expansiveness and how big our plans for ourselves can be. And on the moon side of the page, we've got this 3-hour void of course time right there when the sun is moving into to Aries. So, you might engage in some intuitive and creative stuff there, especially if you're struggling at all with any strong feelings. The moon is moving into Scorpio, so that's sort of a deep dive. It's funny, Aries is ruled by Mars, Scorpio is ruled by Mars and Pluto, so there's definitely a sort of an inner and outer sense of Mars at that time. And Mars is, an assertive and active actor in our lives. Okay, and so with all of that said, I'm going to go ahead and turn over this card. Oh, we got the 5 of Cups again. How'd that happen, friends? Okay, so the 5 of Cups has a mournful vibration to it. It is looking at some loss, and it is Cups, so it's about our emotions. It is about our intuitive flow, our inspired flow, our creativity. It's about the things we put our heart into in order to create something. And 5 of Cups, sort of points the spotlight to the spilled cups, sort of what we would consider wasted effort or wasted love or emotion that we've put into something, wasted creative energy that we've put into something. We can't say how those cups got knocked over, how that effort got spilled, or how we were made to backtrack in this way. But what we can say is that we still have the seeds of our beginning here, of our emotional beginning. There is something here that can be salvaged. There is, a little bit of starting over that has to be done, but it's not a starting over from scratch. So it is appropriate to mourn what is lost, especially, anything that's giving you strong feelings, anything that's giving you intense emotions, anything that requires your focus to understand within, definitely take that focus within and have the conversation with yourself and understand how you're feeling about the losses that you have experienced. Because, while we are in this season of rebirth, definitely, some things have died as other things are coming to life, right? So we all have experienced some losses, acknowledge them, mourn them appropriately. But remember, when you're ready, that there are still the emotional and intuitive seeds there ready to be planted and take us forward into the new life. And I believe that's all I have to say about that today. Friends, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you for showing up every day. My name is Mel Rose, and I will see you all back here tomorrow for more daily aspects or Astrology Today.